Welcome to DesignerDigitals Bi-Weekly Tip, June 28th, 2019. This week, how to erase with watery photo masks in Photoshop and Elements. In this series of tips, we've been exploring the versatility of Katie Petit's watery photo masks. These beautifully designed brush sets are a simple way to give your digital project a wash of color, but they can also be used to remove color in a way that looks hand-painted. Here's how. Each watery mask download comes with an ABR brush file in addition to PNG images of each of the masks. For this technique, begin by loading the ABR brush file into Photoshop or Elements. Refer to our tip on loading and using brushes if you need help with this step. It will walk you through the process of loading the brush file into your software. Open two digital papers and a new blank document. For this technique, using one paper that looks painted gives an extra measure of authenticity. The Art Options papers by Katie Petit are a really good choice for this. Using the Move tool, drag the digital papers onto your new document. If you hold the Shift key as you click and drag, it will center the paper onto your new document. The new document now has 3 layers. In the Layers panel, you can drag papers up or down the Layers panel to position them and change the order. If you're using a painted paper, make it the top layer. I'm going to go ahead and reduce these 2 papers to get them out of our way. Select the top layer and then create a layer mask by clicking the Add Layer Mask icon in the Layers panel. In Photoshop, it's down here at the bottom, and in Elements, it's above the Layers panel. It looks like a little rectangle with a circle inside of it. This places a white box on the right side of the top layer. So you'll see on this top layer now we have a thumbnail of the paper and we have a little white box right next to it. This is the mask. It also automatically changes the foreground and background colors to black and white. Check to make sure that the foreground color is set to black and the background color is set to white. If it isn't, press D on the keyboard to reset to the default color setting. Next, click on the Layer Mask box next to the thumbnail in the Layers panel. This is really important. If you don't click on this box, it isn't going to work right. And then choose the Brush tool from the Tools panel. In the tool options, select one of the brushes that you loaded in the first step. You'll need to have room to work around the edges of your stacked document in the editing window. So to do this, dock your window by dragging it up to that blue bar at the top of the screen. And then you'll need to reduce the size of the paper by pressing Control minus, or on a Mac system, Command minus, until you get it to the right size to where you have room to work all the way around it. Click the outer edge of the paper to mask out the painted paper. So I'm going to come in and do a few little clicks here around the outer edge. Now, if you're seeing black when you click, you need to undo to remove the black imaging. And make sure that you click this mask box here in the Layers panel and then try again. Because if the mask is not selected, the software will think that you're just stamping in the foreground color. Selecting the mask and stamping with black indicates to the software that you want to mask out or erase the portion of the paper that is selected. So randomly click around the edge and then change brushes periodically to maintain authenticity. You don't want it to look cookie cutter around the edge. You want to go ahead and change out and do some different kind of brushing here. Another way to give it realism is to go into Window, Brush Settings, and under Brush Tip Shape here, there's this little wheel that you can drag to adjust the brush angle. So I can stamp a couple of times, adjust the brush angle again, and click a couple more times. In Photoshop Elements, you'll find this brush settings in the tool options at the bottom of the screen. Additionally, you can reduce or increase the size of your brush by pressing the bracket keys. The right bracket key will make the brush larger, and the left bracket key makes the brush smaller. And that can help give it a little bit of a different appearance too. Remember that in the tool options bar, you can also reduce the opacity of the brush if you want to make it a little bit more subtle. As you click, the paint layer is removed and the bottom layer begins to show through in a way that looks painted. Now, if you want to bring back some of the paint, all you have to do is click this little bent arrow down here at the foreground and background color chip and make your foreground color white. And then click again. Stamping in white will add back some of the portion that you've erased away. With the mask selected, clicking with the white brush adds back, and clicking with the black brush removes. This is a different way to use a watery mask set, creating an interesting edge effect. It's a non-destructive way of erasing with the brush. If you had just loaded and used it as an eraser brush on the top paper, then if you wanted to undo it, you'd kind of have a mess on your hands. You'd have to undo a lot to get back to it. But on this, you can just switch the foreground background color and keep working. Using this same technique, you can even mask out other parts of the top paper if you want. So if you wanted to come in the middle here and stamp out a part of the top paper for a layering effect, you can do that too. Thanks so much for watching this week's video, and be sure to check back in 2 weeks for another Designer Digitals tip.